So this video is about some of the properties of sound that I wanted to explain from my perspective. Hello, my name is Jason Gomes. So this is about sonoluminescence. So this is about sound, which is vibration, and geometry. And then also the medium, which is water, which is electromagnetically bound. So it's not sticky, it's like magnetized together. That's why water pools together, which is one of the reasons why it doesn't expand or contract. That's why you can use it like in hydraulics. So when you see implosion, like a nuclear explosion, implosion, obviously it's not a nuclear implosion, but it's a same concept, smaller note, right? So the idea is that sound in a round medium or a round container in a liquid medium like water, that you would be able to generate light from a small pocket of void, just a small bit of air, right? So if you were to think of the universe, we're actually the air in the water that is, the inky blackness of the night. So one of the other properties of sound is that at the far end of sound, you have black holes, right? They're perfectly round, and essentially you can't really detect them because they are spinning so fast that anything that approaches them can't ever actually come in contact because it translates its spinning, its linear motion into rotational motion. There's another picture. So the idea is that these black holes are rippling space-time, and that their waveform interference pattern actually create gravitational waves, which we experience as drifting together or being held in static positions. Like the waves are really, really fine here, but they're not perfect like they would be in space-time. So rather than experiencing free motion, you get like drag in between the sticking points in space. She's pretty awesome if you want to look her up. Physics girl. And here is what that looks like on a two-dimensional surface. So if you just have one something resonating right here in the middle, and the vibrations are traveling to the outside of the plate, and then the waveform interference pattern is forming as the vibrations reach specific frequencies, which is where the chakras come from. Like, specific frequencies resonate with a certain structure in a certain way to create distinctive patterns. And as you increase the frequency, you get more complex patterns, which is why, again, the chakra system in the body gets more and more complex. But what you can think of that as is your various systems of consideration, right? Of thinking and interacting with your environment at different frequencies or at different intervals of time, right? The crown chakra looks at infinite spans of time, and the root chakra looks at right now. Those are kind of the spans of time that you operate in as a human being, or even the past, obviously, if people are all scarred from not being in alignment, right? Like their frequency is not quite right. So in between the resonant frequencies, you get a distorted pattern, which is what you see in a lot of people. The point is that your heart is the vortex in your body. It's the center of the toroidal field. It's what circulates everything through your limbs, through your lower body, and through your upper body and your head. So the idea that you're pulling in the universe at the speed of light kind of makes sense, because you're actually pulling in the universe so quickly that you can consider in advance of right now, like you can predict the future. And this is kind of an idea of that. Like, see, this right here would represent these actual lines, which loop and actually create the eighth dimension of the universe, or the skin of the universe, because they're too concentrated. Essentially, when you get smaller and smaller, they eventually become an electron, because electrons are doing the same thing. But these black holes pulling in a lot of energy from suns. This is a cloud representing millions of suns. So it's like you breathing deeply allows you to project out and pull in, because this is what's happening. This whole thing is moving in one straight line. It's not. It's just like the magnetic field of the planet. It moves like the South Pole moves in and the North Pole moves out, but normally it would loop back around. But as part of a singularity, it actually helps structure the entire universe, because it's actually holding together the universe itself, which is basically, there's an infinite amount of energy holding together the universe, because that is the maximum strength of a beam that you can possibly have. So when you look at that, that is the brightest thing in the universe, while simultaneously being a black hole. Oops. So it's actually also the darkest thing in the universe, depending on how you look at it. Because from this angle, obviously it looks very bright. This angle, it's obviously very dark. So it's the brightest thing in the universe, it's the blackest thing in the universe, it's the straightest thing in the universe, it's the roundest thing in the universe. It resonates at the highest frequency possible, and it actually bends space and time to fold the universe in on itself to create another dimension, a greater dimension. So when we look at all that, what I'm trying to say is we're all very, very powerful, and we all resonate with the universe in a similar way. Obviously, you're not literally a black hole sucking in everything, but as a human being, what is it that you're not capable of doing? And if you wanted another demonstration of a standing wave, here's what it looks like on a fixed medium, which is a rope, right? Which, this isn't that impressive. Like, even if you create a standing wave, so what? You're just moving really fast and dividing yourself up into several pieces here, like 6, as you can see. But the great thing is, we actually are made of water. Now, this is what a standing wave looks like in water. Now, you'll notice that there's a significant difference between something that's a fixed medium and something that's an electromagnetically bound medium. Because rather than this reaching the same height, they use a very small initial wave that, when reflects and interacts with itself, begins to amplify with ever greater volume. So that's really the thing that inspires me, is like, hey, we're all made of water, so we do this inside of ourselves. But what's more inspiring than that is this was a tower built by Nikola Tesla, and what he discovered is that he could pull in lightning into the ground using a very large transformer that collapses and expands like a heartbeat, a magnetic field, and collects it in a dome like a cerebral cortex, and funnels it through the earth. Now, this might not seem useful, but he was able to harmonize this electricity to such an extent that he would actually create balls of lightning as the energy would be flowing in the funnel that was being electromagnetically created around this device as it was flowing into the ground, like a lightning tornado, right? As an electromagnetic tornado. Well, he got so good at harmonizing this energy that it didn't even produce lightning anymore. It literally created an aurora borealis effect where light was bending around itself so fluidly that there was virtually no friction. All that you got was light. There was no sound, there was no heat, and he was able to pull this energy through this conduit system. So enormous amounts of energy were flowing through this. So at any point in time, he could essentially tap into it, into a river of energy that he created to feed it anywhere on the planet that he wanted. Now, obviously, J.P. Morgan, the person that funded this tower as being a radio tower, didn't want this being made public because he actually owned most of the power companies, copper companies, as well as a lot of newspapers. So he's very influential and essentially destroyed Nikola Tesla's reputation because he spent a lot of J.P. Morgan's money building something that would have ultimately destroyed him. And I think it created a little bit too much animosity for him to see exactly what he was turning down. Free energy for the entire world that would allow us to create unlimited prosperity and abundance. But I mean, that's just my thoughts. What do you think?